So I chose to do my mineral presentation on calcium. I looked up everywhere I could the scientific name for calcium, but I couldn't find anything other than that its elemental name on like the elemental table is capital C lowercase a, and that the atomic number is 20. The only scientific name that I could find was calcium chloride, and I wasn't sure if that was the same thing, so I just left it how it was. The basic functions of calcium. So calcium is actually the most abundant mineral in the entire body. It makes up a lot of the structure of bones and teeth and allows for normal bodily movement by promoting rigidity, strength, and flexibility in most tissues. It also happens to mediate blood vessel contraction and dilation, muscle function, blood clotting, nerve transmission, and hormonal secretion. So it has a hand in everything. Its solubility. So calcium chloride is highly soluble in water at ordinary temperatures, but at certain temperatures and concentrations, crystallization can occur. As far as its absorption, it is absorbed by both active transport and by passing diffusion across the intestinal mucosa. Its active transport is responsible for most absorption when calcium intakes are lower, and passive diffusion accounts for most of the increasing proportion of calcium absorption as intakes rise. And I don't know why this isn't on here, but calcium is indeed stored in the body in a lot of places, but mostly in the bones. There are a lot of deficiencies that can be related to calcium, but this is just a few of the things and symptoms that you can experience. Deficiency can reduce bone strength and lead to osteoporosis. It can also cause rickets in children and other bone disorders in adults. Kids with rickets have growth cartilage that does not mineralize normally, which leads to irreversible changes in the skeletal structure. Another is osteomalacia, which is defective bone mineralization and can result in bone softening. Hypocalcemia is another thing, and it can lead to hypothyroidism, impaired bone resorption of calcium, and critical illnesses that number in so many that I was not able to list them all on here. Hypocalcemia can also be asymptomatic, and that is why it is a very high-risk thing. This is a table that I got from the website that I cited on my citations page. But this is just the DRAs for calcium in different ages and genders and situations. And they're all pretty consistent with each other between male and female. The only differences are between 51 and 70 years old. Females are recommended to have 200 more milligrams. But other than that, it's pretty consistent across all ages and genders. There's a lot of food sources of calcium, but the most rich and natural sources of calcium are milk, yogurt, and cheese. Canned sardines and salmon with bones or salmon with bones are also really good options, and certain vegetables such as kale, broccoli, and Chinese cabbage or bok choy also have a great amount of calcium. Grains don't have calcium unless they are fortified. There are many foods with calcium content, but these are just the ones that have the most. But a lot of foods contain a considerable amount of calcium. And this is the citations page. I used the book and most other stuff mostly, but I also got some information off of this website because it was like the government website for dietary supplements on calcium and stuff. So that's it.